Procrastination, something that so many of us have to deal with, because when things get hard, we end up procrastinating, doing anything else except that harder task. So what I thought would be really helpful is to share with you 5 easy steps that are going to help you to negotiate procrastination, to stop you from procrastinating when things get hard. Remember, our brains are wired to procrastinate because we're used to doing and want to do those easier tasks which give us a little bit of happiness. But if you're going to be doing those tasks all the time, it means that other things have to go on the back burner. But if those things on the back burner are going to lead you to not doing the task that you need to do, which are going to lead to your happiness in the future, you're never going to do anything worthwhile and valuable to you. So you're going to stay stuck procrastinating over and over again. So the first step in order to stop procrastinating is to know what's important in your life. Because if you're doing something which you feel is important, it means that your brain is more likely to follow through with it. Remember, those things which are important are usually harder, and they're usually harder because they're more worthwhile to us. We want to make sure that we get it right. But by doing that, anxiety comes up, which fills our brains with that sense of, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to feel a sense of validation, of control, of purpose. So we end up doing anything else except that important task. And that will lead you to feel that little bit of happiness in the short term, but in the long term, it's not getting you anywhere. So we need to make sure that you're on point by knowing what is important in your life. And that bigger task is probably the thing that's most important to you, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't keep on coming up and you wouldn't keep on procrastinating when things get hard. Remember, life sometimes is hard. You just need to work out the way to do it to make it easy for you so that it doesn't fill you with anxiety anymore. And leading on from that, step number 2 is to make it easy. And making it easy means knowing what to do in that situation. So what I'd suggest you do is to pick up a pen and paper, write a plan, know what it is that you need to do. And when you get stuck, you need to start thinking, okay, how can I work out the best way to do this? And it might mean a little bit of practice. It might mean failing a couple of times because you're just finding out the way that works for you. But that's okay. Remember, maybe you need to speak to someone else to ask them how they did it. Email someone, look it up on YouTube. Check on the internet how other people have done it. Make things easy. And when things are easy, you end up enjoying doing them. That's why procrastination is there, because it's helping you to feel that little bit of validation in that moment. So instead of doing that easier task you know how to do, which leads you to nowhere, why don't you find out the way to do that harder task, make it easy, make it controlled, and then you're going to be doing that instead of that procrastination task, which means that you're going to be actually leveling up the thing that you want to do in the long term, doing the thing you know will lead to your growth and change and validation in the long term. The procrastination won't be doing the thing that leads to nowhere. The procrastination will be doing the thing that leads you somewhere, because you'll know what to do and you'll get that happiness and validation from doing that task. Remember, make it easy. Step 3 is time, because we need to make time to do that harder task, but also we need to make time to rest, recoup, and have fun too, because otherwise that harder task, which you're procrastinating over, and end up filling you with dread and anxiety, which will lead you to procrastinate. Whereas if you set up a time frame for you to not only do that task, but also eat, drink, have fun, see friends, do the things that lead you to feel happy in the short term, then you'll have your happiness met in other areas of life, but also you'll be able to dedicate your time to doing that harder task because you've already had that validation quota met in other areas and other times. And also you'll know in the future that you've got something planned in to get excited about, so that you can go, okay, once this task is done, I can go and see my friends. I can go and have fun. I can feel okay. And that's really important, because remember, procrastination is stopping you from feeling that anxiety. So it's helping you in one way, but by not knowing how to deal with that anxiety, you're going to end up just staying still, going round and round, procrastinating and not getting that job done. So if you know when that time is that you can have fun and do those things that you want to do, then it means it's going to be so much more likely that you'll continue doing that job that you need to do. And also you'll be able to go, okay, I feel this way right now, but that's not forever. Time is so important because we have no control over it, but we have control over how we use it. Make sure that you're using your time productively to not only do that harder task, but also to rest and have fun too. Step 4 is to stop seeing short-term gain as the number one and most important thing and start seeing long-term reward as just as, or if not more important. Because if all you're looking for is that short-term gain of getting something right here and now, you're never going to stick at anything because you're always going to want to do that easier task, which means procrastinating, doing something that fills you with a little bit of happiness, but doesn't actually lead to you getting anything in the future. Remember, short-term gain is great. Remember, we've talked about setting about some time to get that short-term gain, but you need to stop seeing short-term gain as the only way for you to get any sense of happiness. Because if that's the case, you're never going to stick at anything which is harder and that you need to do in order to get a long-term reward in the end. Remember, short-term gain is great, but it's not everything. It will lead you to just keep on checking the same Facebook pages, speaking to the same people, doing the same tasks which don't actually lead you to anywhere. So start having your eye on the prize and look into the future and think, okay, in the future, this is the life that I want, and get a sense of validation from working towards that end point. Step 5 is to ride out the anxiety. And something which has come from all my videos recently talking about procrastination is anxiety and tension, because what happens is that anxiety and tension keep on coming up and we haven't worked out a way to deal with them, which is why we procrastinate. So if we're able to sit and feel comfortable with that tension, with that anxiety, with that stress, then we can use them in a productive way. Because remember, we see those emotions as something which is bad, but if we can start seeing them as something which is just sharing with us that something needs to be done and work out a way to do it, then we won't procrastinate anymore, because we'll be comfortable in that feeling of anxiety, of that tension, of that stress. And stress is something which can actually motivate you to get things done, and a driving force which, if you could harness, will lead you to be successful and happy in the future, because we won't be running from those harder to deal with emotions. Instead, we'll be using them to problem solve and to gain an element of control and safety in our lives. If we can start to do that, then the world's your oyster. You can put your mind to doing anything, and no, those feelings are going to come up, but it's just showing you how important it is for you to get it right. And if we keep on running from them, we'll never get it done. There's a really interesting study talking about anxiety and how if we don't deal with that situation that fills us with anxiety, what happens is that anxiety feeling gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because it's telling you there's something not right here, do something about it. So then, if we're not dealing with that anxiety, we're just going to feel even more anxious, stressed and tense thinking about doing that, and also any task that fills us with any of those emotions. It just bleeds onto everything. So do you see how important it is to get used to that feeling? Because once we get used to it and deal with it, that anxiety, that tension, that stress starts to diminish. Then we can see what needs to be done and do it and feel validated and rewarded and happy from doing it. Essentially, we're swapping those feelings of anxiety, tension and stress for happiness and contentment. But the way that we do that, we just substitute those harder to deal with emotions in order to feel that contentment and safety in the future. Those are my 5 steps, but something that links all of those 5 steps together is anxiety, because what we're doing is negotiating anxiety, stopping us from relating to anxiety as something that's bad, as something that's pushing us away from doing that task, but you're learning to harness and use its power in order to motivate us and push us forward. Because if we're not doing that, we're going to keep on running from anxiety, keep on procrastinating and never get to our end goal. And to be honest with you, I know you're better than that, because you have an end goal, you have a dream. You can realize that dream and get to that end point, but you just need to negotiate procrastination. Stop doing it by learning to live with and use anxiety in order to benefit your life. That's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. And remember, why don't you share with me some issues that you're facing when it comes to anxiety, tension, stress, procrastination, or anything else? And I can answer those questions in a future video. Remember to like this video and subscribe to see plenty more to come. Look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.